Hello and welcome to my studio. In this video I'm going to show you how I made this picture. This image demonstrates that regardless of the type of equipment used, the laws of light and the physics of photography remain the same. This picture was captured with an 80 megapixel true medium format camera in conjunction with LED continuous lights. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Okay, so what I've got set up so far is the subject, these flowers, and I've put them in this clamp. Now this is attached to a magic arm on the top of a stand here. Now I prefer to do this like this so that you get a lot of maneuverability, so you can put the flowers in exactly the right position. Now in the introduction I mentioned the camera that I'd be using. And this is the one that I'll be using. This is a medium format phase 1 IXA 180 aerial imaging camera. Now this is a true medium format camera. It has a very large sensor. It's 55 millimeters by 40 millimeters. Which is considerably larger than the digital medium format cameras that are commonly available. It's also considerably more expensive as a result. So I've been loaned this one by an aerial imaging company, so I'm just going to use that for this shoot. Okay, so I'm just going to pop the camera on the top of this tripod. There we go. So to set up the rest of the image, what I want to do is create a background here. So regardless of the camera that's being used or the lighting, I want to set a background which will complement these flowers. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to use a piece of card and I'm going to just support this at the back. So to put that in position, I'm going to use this C stand. So I'll just put the arm up. Here we are. Just pop that somewhere like that. There we go. Now I can use this to support the card. So this is the card. This is a piece of mount board. Now I prefer to use this instead of continuous paper because it will give you a very smooth surface. So let's just get this in something like the right place. Take that up a bit so it can come a bit closer. I'm going to try and get this as close as I can to the flowers. Just swing that in position. There we go. Something like that. Now I'm putting this very close to the subject here so that when it's lit I end up with a shadow on the card itself. So talking of lighting it, to do that I'm going to use a continuous LED light source. So here I have a 200 watt LED continuous light. I'll just plug that in. There we are, that's all plugged in now. So with that being on, I can turn the light up like so. There we are. So we've got the light in this position and we've got the camera set. So I just need to plug the camera into the Capture One software and we can take our first image. There we go. So now this is all on and the software has recognized the camera, and these are the settings that I have on the camera at the moment. So I have a sensitivity of 100 ISO, a shutter speed of 1/30th of a second, and an aperture of f8. And regardless of what type of camera it is, those are the settings that I'm going to use to take the picture with. So whether this was a full frame digital camera or this medium format one, those settings would remain the same. Okay, so with those on, what I'll do is grab an image and we'll just see what we get. So we can see that in this image the colours look a bit weird. The exposure isn't bad, but the reason that the colour isn't quite right is because there is no white balance set. So one of the quirks of using this particular camera is that you do need to set a white balance. So in order to do that, I'm going to use this colour checker. I'm just going to place this fairly close to the subject so that it's all illuminated by the same light. There we go. Put that in there like that. Now we'll just grab that again. And now I can just use the software to pick a grey point and we can just recalibrate the system. There we are. Good. So you should be able to see now that so we've got a true grey at that point, which is what we want. Okay, so I can dispense with that. We can grab another image. Yeah, that's looking okay. So let me just put that at 100% to check the focus. Yep, and these parts look extremely well focused to me. Good. Okay. So, if looking at that image, you should be able to see that the shadows here are a little soft. Considering I have a studio light here with a Fresnel lens on the front of it, at this sort of distance, you'd expect these to be maybe a little sharper. But as I said at the beginning, regardless of the equipment you use, you can't do anything about the physics of light and photography. So at this distance, this light isn't actually acting like a point light source. This is why these shadows are quite soft. In order to harden up these shadows, regardless of the optical arrangement of the light, you do need to take it further away. So what I'm going to do is just move it back a bit. So if I just bring this a little further back, and to keep the angle something like the same, I'll just pop this up in the air. There we are. And it's vaguely pointing in the right direction. Now, what that should do is sharpen up the shadow on the background considerably. But also, I've moved it further away. Therefore, due to the inverse square law, I'm going to need to alter the exposure. So just to start with, if I just take a guess and we take that down to what? A 15th, so that's a full stop difference. And we'll grab that again. Yes, that's not a bad guess. So this is what we had before, and this is what we've got now. And you should be able to see that the shadow here is considerably sharper. Now I didn't move the light very far. I've just moved it maybe a meter. But that has made quite a large difference to the way that this looks. Okay. So what else might I want to do to this image? I think if I just have a close look at this, so I'll just zoom in, we'll move around the image a little. I think I would like a bit more depth of field, just to bring maybe these a bit more into focus. So the way to do that would be to increase the aperture, just like on a normal camera. The fact that it's a medium format camera does make a slight difference to the actual numbers, but I'm not going to go into that in this video. Suffice to say that if I make this a larger number, I'll end up with a bigger depth of field. So I'm going to take it up to f16. So that's a 2-stop decrease in the amount of light hitting the sensor, so I'm going to need to make that up. So the way to make it up is to change the shutter speed. So from a 15th, 1 stop would be 7.5 or 8, and 2 stops would be a quarter, very roughly. So that should be about right. Let's just give that a go and see what happens. Okay, well that's not bad. So if I just increase the magnification on the screen slightly, that's what we had before, that's what we have now. Yes, that's starting to come along quite nicely. Okay, so we're getting there. But there's something else to take into consideration. And that is that I still have all the house lights on. Now, at this sort of exposure, I would guess that the house lights will make a difference. So what I'm going to do is just turn out this light, like so, and we'll just grab an image without changing any of the settings, just with the house lights. Okay, and you can see here that we actually have quite an image, and all this light here will affect the final image. So in order to stop that happening, what I'm going to do is turn the light back on and turn the house lights out. There we are. So with that now done, what I can do is just grab an image and see what we get this time. Okay, so that's made quite a large difference. This is what we had with the house lights on. Just look at the depth of shadow here, and this is with the house lights out. This is much darker, and we've got a lot more contrast in the whole image. In fact, the whole image to me looks like it's a little underexposed now. So what I might do is just adjust the shutter speed, and I'll just move that from 1/4 to 1/3. We'll try that. Just see if that makes enough difference. Grab that again. Yes, that seems to have done it. Okay, so we'll have a final look around the image. Just check the focus, which looks really good. Okay, so that's it. That's the image captured. What I'm going to do now is just go into Photoshop and do the bare minimum of post-production. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop, and this is the file of the image that we captured earlier. Now, being a 80 megapixel medium format file, it is actually quite large. If I just zoom into this, at the moment it's at 12.5%. So if I go all the way into 100%, there we are, you can see the large amount of detail which is evident in this file. And together with the color accuracy and huge dynamic range of the sensor in the camera, we've ended up with a very nice capture. Okay, so I think as far as the tones and levels in the image is concerned, I'm quite happy with the result straight out of the camera. So it just remains to apply a crop to the image. So I'll just click on the cropping tool here. Now I'm going to use this for video, so I'm using a specific ratio of 16:9. I might just tilt the image ever so slightly. There we are. Something like that. With that done, I'll just click on the commit button. And there we have it. So regardless of the camera used or the type of lighting, the physics of the photography stays exactly the same. So you still have to pay attention to the inverse square law and having a point light source to make a hard shadow, etc. And I think as an exercise, that's turned out very well. Okay, well I hope you liked watching how I made that image, and if you like watching these sort of things, do click on the other images as they appear, and don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and hit the like button. Thank you very much for watching.